Here's my ranking of every single movie that I've seen in theaters on Christmas Day. We are halfway through November, and that means it's been Christmas in my household for 2 weeks now. And one of my favorite traditions from the last few years has been going to see a movie with my family on Christmas Day. I've been doing it since around 2017, so we got 7 movies to rank. This will be a little bit of a combination of the quality of the film that I thought it was and the overall experience that I had. Starting off in dead last is the 2018 film Holmes and Watson. Like most of you who are Will Ferrell fans in 2018, I had very high hopes for this film. Step Brothers is one of my favorite comedies of all time. And going to see this with my family and with my dad was going to be very fun because he basically introduced me to Will Ferrell and kind of other SNL alums. So we were all very excited for this film, but holy crap, is this a bad movie. This may be one of the worst comedies that I have ever seen. It has very little redeemable qualities to it. It's just overall an absolute mess. So this is definitely going to be in last place. Up next, I have the most recent addition to this whole list of movies I've seen on Christmas Day, and that is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. This is kind of my fault because I knew this film was going to be really bad, but I still convinced my family to go see this on Christmas. And bad it was, even though with James Wan directing, it could not save this film from being the disaster that it is. The horrible CGI, the really choppy story, just it's so bad. It just makes sense that this would be the film that would end the DCEU because it was just as big of a mess as the rest of it. I still remember watching it in theaters and seeing that final shot of Aquaman doing like a press conference, and literally everything in it looked fake and looked bad and had bad CGI. So that was basically like the whole vibe of the movie all in one scene. Up next, I have Wonder Woman 1984. I had forgotten that I'd even seen this in theaters until I was looking into this for this video, and I saw a video of my wife holding up a Wonder Woman 1984 custom cup with a mask in her lap, so we clearly want to go see this in 2020. Now, people like to call this one of the worst comic book movies of all time. I don't remember it that much. I really need to rewatch to be able to say that accurately, but I don't remember it being that bad. And I also remember that Pedro Pascal was in it, and it spawned a pretty good meme of his, life is good, but it could be better. I think I may actually enjoy it on a rewatch just knowing how bad people say it is, just to get a good laugh out of it. But I mean, this film is fine. It's just fine. And now up next, I have Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, my least favorite film in the Star Wars franchise. This was not my first watch experience of this film, but I still got a chance to watch it again with my family. And I could even say, watching it again, I started to see more and more reasons to not like this film. There is still some good in this. There is good in every single Star Wars film, but this one just really wasn't for me. And I really think bringing back Darth Sidious was such a bad choice. Again, there is still good, but there's just a lot more bad in my opinion. Now, y'all might think I'm a little crazy for this one, but like I said before, I'm a big Will Ferrell fan, and this is now like a favorite in my household to watch every single year. And the film that I have next in my ranking, my third favorite film that I've ever seen in theaters on Christmas, is Daddy's Home 2. Now, this film was not perfect, but my God, I just absolutely love this film. Every single actor has really good chemistry on screen, especially Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. Even the addition of Mel Gibson and John Lithgow, all was just such a great addition to this cast of characters. Even John Cena is in it, and he's got a lot of great comedic moments too. Like, this is just one of my wife and I's favorite Christmas movies to watch every single year now. We've already watched it this year. We may watch it a few more times. Again, it's not perfect. It's got some weird parts. It's got kind of a story, but my God, I just absolutely love it. Now, in the number 2 spot, I have Spider-Man No Way Home. If this would have been my first watch of the film, it probably would have been number 1. But since it wasn't my first watch, since it was like my second or third, that's why it happens to be in the number 2 spot. Because my first watch of Spider-Man No Way Home was my favorite movie theater experience of my entire life. But getting to see this on Christmas was also really cool. I got to see it with my sister, who hadn't seen any MCU movies yet. And then she saw this, was absolutely hooked, and then watched every single thing in the MCU for the next 2 or 3 months. Now she's hooked, loves the MCU, and goes to see all the new ones with me as well. So that's a pretty awesome memory, and I absolutely adore this film. But at the number 1 spot, I have Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is one of my favorite animated films of all time now. They absolutely cooked on an unbelievable level in this film. They took this like mini little film franchise, only had one film before that was kind of alright, and just elevated it in every single way. And that Death Wolf is just insane. It's one of my favorite villains in all of animation ever. I just absolutely love this film. It wasn't my 4 favorites on Letterboxd for a little bit, but I've been kind of flip-flopping every now and then, but it's definitely in the conversation It's one of my favorite films ever. So there you have it. There's the ranking of all the movies that I've seen on Christmas Day in theaters. I highly recommend you doing this as well. This is such a fun thing to do as a family on Christmas Day. Because on Christmas Day, I don't know how it goes for you guys, but usually when you get up, you open presents, you have breakfast, yada yada yada. The rest of the day is kind of empty. There's not a lot of things to do on Christmas Day. There's not a lot of places open, but the movie theaters are. And there's a lot of great movies out. There's going to be a ton of options out, a ton of different options out on Christmas Day. I really, really highly recommend going to see a movie on Christmas with your family. Now I'll ask the question, what movie do you think I should see on Christmas this year? There's going to be a lot of options, like I said. There's going to be Sonic 3, there's going to be Mufasa, there's going to be Red One, there's going to be that new Nosferatu movie, but my family's not the best with horror, so I know we definitely won't see that one. But what movie should we see on Christmas this year? And what are some of your favorite experiences if you have seen a movie on Christmas Day in movie theaters?